Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike, and today I am going to break down my favorites to win this year's Royal Rumble matches. Who do I think could win the men's and the women's Royal Rumbles? And leave a comment below. Who do you want to see win this year's Royal Rumble matches? And after you do that, make sure you do hit the like and subscribe button, as I do produce weekly wrestling content here on this channel, and I will be live streaming the Royal Rumble on Saturday, February 1st. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button today and join me as we will find out who will win the Royal Rumble matches. So let's look at the Women's Royal Rumble first. So I think you have to look at the two returns of Charlotte Flair and potentially Becky Lynch, because those two right there, big names, obviously you have to consider them. You have to consider both of them as a possibility. Charlotte, Becky, both of them have won the Rumble in the past, but they're at their point in their careers where they don't need the Rumble to get that title shot. And both Charlotte and Becky have history with both champions. So you could go either way. Even though I do think it's more likely that we are going to see Charlotte versus Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania, but I don't think Charlotte needs to win the Rumble in order to make that happen. I think you could have Charlotte just win the Elimination Chamber, and that's how she gets her match. We saw Becky Lynch last year. She won the Elimination Chamber to get her match against Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is once again the women's champion. Becky Lynch probably wants another shot at Rhea Ripley in order to get her title back, because it was Becky Lynch who, after Rhea got injured, Becky won the title, then she lost it to Liv Morgan. So there's just all this history tied up into Becky, into Charlotte. So we'll see kind of what their path to WrestleMania will be. Next up, I'm going to group these three together because of the ongoing storyline of who attacked Jade Cargill, because we know Triple H loves his long-term storytelling. And that to me says this whole thing of who attacked Jade could play out throughout the road to WrestleMania, or even be the catalyst for, say, Jade going for a title at WrestleMania and setting up a post-WrestleMania feud going into the summer with Jade being a singles champion. Because, again, you could have Jade come back and maybe Jade eliminates Naomi, who was very happy to jump right into being Bianca's tag team partner, by the way. That's not suspicious at all. But also, could it have been Bianca who took out her own tag team partner? And could we see Jade eliminate Bianca and do the whole, pointing down at her, going, hey, it was you. You took me out. It was you. And that sets up Jade and Bianca for WrestleMania. Even if Jade doesn't win the Rumble, then you still have Bianca, Jade as a good singles match for WrestleMania. But again, what about Bianca? Because Bianca, one of your top stars in the women's division right now, and she does have history with Tiffany Stratton, obviously, but I do think fans want to see Bianca versus Rhea. So that is an option where if you do move Bianca away from Jade, then you could use the Rumble as a way to have Bianca go to Raw to challenge Rhea Ripley. But much like Charlotte and Becky, Bianca is a former Royal Rumble winner, and I don't think the Women's Royal Rumble needs a repeat winner just yet. Which does lead me to Naomi, who does not have a Royal Rumble win. And Naomi could very well play a role into WrestleMania because she could also go after Tiffany Stratton. She's been kind of in the middle of all of this. She's Bianca's tag team partner right now. So it could parlay into Naomi as champion, and maybe Jade goes after Naomi or Bianca after they win the title from Tiffany Stratton. So we'll have to see where all this goes, but Jade potentially being a winner as well, where Jade kind of goes on her own path of finding out who attacked her, but also having to deal with trying to win her first singles title at WrestleMania. I think that would be a good setup for a road to WrestleMania plus post WrestleMania. Then you have to consider Liv Morgan, who I think a lot of people will think could win the Rumble again, just because I do think fans have this fear that the WWE is not done with this whole Liv and Becky feud. And if Liv Morgan does win the Rumble, I think it's obviously she's going to choose Rhea Ripley. And I think we've seen enough of it. But you have to consider Liv as a favorite. She's been the runner-up in the past couple years. And last but not least, the favorite in everyone's eyes to win this year's Women's Royal Rumble is Io Sky. She was the women's champion last year at this time, going into the Royal Rumble. She had that great match with Bayley last year, and we've already seen it. Triple H loves his little Easter eggs, giving us little teases of what's to come. And right now, we did get that moment of Io and Rhea playing tug of war with the title. That, to me, tells me probably the two likely women matches at WrestleMania this year is going to be Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. And on SmackDown, it's going to be Charlotte versus Tiffany. And I think right now, Io's path is going to be winning the Royal Rumble. And last but not least, the men's side of things, which is the most star-studded Royal Rumble in probably Royal Rumble history. And you look at the list here that I have, any one of these men could win the Rumble and have a case for why they should win the Royal Rumble. Now, again, a lot of this here, it all depends on The Rock, okay? Look, is The Rock actually going to be at WrestleMania? Is he not? Maybe, maybe not. I talked about this before. Have we seen the end of The Final Boss? Check that video out here. And so, yeah, if The Rock is not involved, these are the favorites in my mind to win the Men's Royal Rumble. First off, John Cena, to me, you have to look at this and go, who does he choose? Because if he does win the Rumble, which I'm starting to think he will, who does he choose? Because is it Gunther? Is it Cody Rhodes? There's a lot of, there's a big match potential there with John Cena and Cody Rhodes. But do you want to risk the fans booing Cody Rhodes? Or is this going to be a kind of a WrestleMania 6, kind of like Hogan Warrior, where the fans are going to be cheering for both of them and not necessarily boo one or the other? And that, to me, is I think the biggest risk is that you do risk the fans potentially turning on Cody Rhodes because they want to see John Cena win his 17th world title. And if you go after Gunther, then you don't have to worry about that. And also, the World Heavyweight title, even though it's a different title, but it is similar to the belt that Ric Flair is synonymous with. So John Cena winning the title that is synonymous with Ric Flair makes a lot of sense. But we also know John Cena for being a WWE guy and holding the WWE Championship. So it makes sense for him to go after that and go after Cody Rhodes. Either way, I think John Cena is going to go after one of these titles, whether he wins the Rumble, the Chamber. But to me, I think right now, if you had to ask me to predict who would win the Rumble, I right now would say John Cena, because there's nothing else that tells me otherwise. Now, speaking of Cody Rhodes, what about the man that is on a mission to hunt down everyone who's helped Roman Reigns, and that being Drew McIntyre? We know Kevin Owens is targeting Cody Rhodes because of him teaming with Roman Reigns back at Bad Blood, and he's been helping the Bloodline. And Drew McIntyre has every reason to go after Cody Rhodes for that very same reason. And if Drew McIntyre wins the Royal Rumble, then he has every reason to choose Cody Rhodes. And look, I talked about this in another video. I said this makes the most sense. If you are not going to have The Rock in the Rumble, then you have Drew versus Cody, and both of them have, when you look at their stories and how they both had to leave the WWE to prove their worth to the WWE, to come back and be bigger stars than they were before, yeah, it writes itself. The storyline, the match writes itself based off of that. But also, Drew has history with Gunther. We've seen Drew go after Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, and he's failed. So Drew could go after Gunther and try to redeem himself against Gunther and take that world title off of Gunther at WrestleMania. And let's stay on SmackDown here, because Randy Orton is another guy that could win the Royal Rumble, because he could come back, win the Rumble, and he could choose Cody Rhodes. Or he could choose Gunther, who he lost to the King of the Ring to, and he lost the world title match. So Randy Orton has history with both men, but obviously we know everybody wants Randy versus Cody. So does Randy Orton return in the Royal Rumble match and go after Cody Rhodes? Because Orton eventually turns on Cody for the same reasons that Kevin Owens did. Same reason why Drew McIntyre is going after everybody associated with Roman Reigns. Because the Bloodline nearly took Randy Orton, or nearly ended his career. So Cody Rhodes helping Roman Reigns, Randy Orton's going to go, hey dude, they almost ended my career. Why are you helping them? You know, so it's just so funny how the whole Bloodline storyline has impacted so many wrestlers, and they have legit reasons to go after Cody Rhodes. And when you speak in the Bloodline, you also speak of Paul Heyman, who owes a favor to this next gentleman, which is CM Punk. Now, he did beat Seth Rollins clean on the first episode of Raw on Netflix. And you have to think, what is this favor that CM Punk keeps talking about? You know, is it going to be a guaranteed match at WrestleMania? Is he going to get a guaranteed title match? Is he going to get the number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble? Guaranteed match at the Elimination Chamber. We still don't know what this favor is. And if CM Punk does win the Royal Rumble, then yeah, he could go against Gunther, but there is that intrigue, a little bit of intrigue of CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. I had to be honest, that would be an interesting feud going into WrestleMania. Because obviously, look, we know the history with AEW. Cody Rhodes helped found AEW. CM Punk made his wrestling return in AEW. So there's a little bit of history there that they can play off of if Punk were to choose Cody Rhodes. But if he were to stay on Raw, he chooses Gunther. That's a match that I could see happening because they have been running those matches at live events. So I do wonder if Punk is going to either win the Rumble to go against Gunther, or is he going to get a match against Gunther if he doesn't win the Rumble, and then Punk is the world champion going into WrestleMania. And the man that CM Punk defeated on Raw, Seth Rollins, again, he has every reason to go after Gunther. He has every reason to go after Cody Rhodes. So, yeah, this whole thing is this Royal Rumble is so unpredictable. Any of these men could win this match with legitimate reasons. Now, Seth, he was the first World Heavyweight Champion when they introduced this new title. So, obviously, Seth would want that title back. But also, Cody Rhodes, there's that history between Cody and Seth. So, which way do you want to go, right? And Seth going after Cody because Seth doesn't want nothing to do with Roman Reigns. And Cody, again, helping Roman Reigns, ticks off Seth Rollins that he's going to go after Cody. Plus, there's a whole Seth wants to get his win back from a couple years ago when Cody made his big return. So, yeah. There's a lot of options here, a lot of star power. But the man who has not been in a Royal Rumble in, 5 years? Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman made the declaration to Cody Rhodes. He said Roman Reigns wants his title back, which is Cody Rhodes' title. And that is where, to me, do you do Roman versus Cody 3? Do you want to do the same main event 3 straight years? 39, 40, 41. Obviously, we had all the bloodline shenanigans last year, WrestleMania 40. We had Solo costing Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39. So this could be seen as the rubber match, where no interference, just Roman, just Cody, best man wins. Done. Roman Reigns doesn't have the bloodline to help him. Cody Rhodes doesn't have his Avengers. Just them two, straight up, one-on-one. See who truly is the best. Because I don't see him going after Gunther in that World Heavyweight title. I think you do have to consider Roman Reigns here because he's never been in the Rumble for the past 5 years. So you have to think if he's in the Rumble, he's probably has a good shot at winning it. Now, again, depending on The Rock, if The Rock is doing WrestleMania and all this is a big ploy to try to swerve us, then do you have Roman Reigns potentially get eliminated by The Rock? Does The Rock show up to eliminate Roman Reigns from the Rumble? Or, distract him enough to be eliminated? There's still this factor of The Rock, because The Rock could just come in, enter the Royal Rumble himself, and go after Cody Rhodes. And also, there is the whole Roman Reigns thing where you do Rock and Roman. So yeah, there's still this whole thing with Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, The Rock that I have to take into consideration. That is still a possibility, but yeah, I think Roman Reigns wins. If he does win the Rumble, then it's obviously he's going after Cody Rhodes, and I don't really want to see a third match between these two, at least not at WrestleMania. At the very, very least, if you're going to do a third match between these two, then maybe down the line, SummerSlam, where the title isn't on the line, and maybe you just have them two in a match that wants to prove once and for all who is the better man, who is going to win without help from anybody. So yeah, comment below. Who do you want to see win this year's Royal Rumble matches? Who are your favorites to win each one? Comment below. I've been your host, Money Mike, and you've been watching Ringside Cinema.
Ringside Cinema, where the battles roar. Ringside Cinema, legends at the core. Tune in, feel the rush. Wrestling meets the screen. Ringside Cinema, living out the dream. Living out the dream. Living out the dream. Lights down, time to go. Cheers for heroes we know. Ringside forever. Oh. Wrestling